If a child refuses to eat, there's no simple one-size-fits-all answer for all parents. I wish there was, but there isn't. Instead, I think maybe a more helpful question to ask is, how can parents create a culture at home where 100% completion of all meals and snacks is considered absolutely necessary and required? Or another way to think about it is, how can parents create a culture at home where it becomes basically impossible for the child not to complete? There's 3 general guidelines that I'd like to recommend to parents in terms of how to create this culture of 100% completion. The first guideline is parental unity. I think this is really a critical point, that parents need to be 100% unified in all aspects of the refeeding process. This means that parents need to agree in advance what foods their child is going to eat at each meal and snack and how much they're going to eat. If the parents are in any way in disagreement on these critical issues, the eating disorder is going to sense the disagreement, and it's going to sneak through that little wedge that's been created between both parents, and it's going to find a way to take control of the meal. The best way to prevent the eating disorder from feeling disempowered at the meal is for both parents to be 100% together and unified in deciding how much their child is going to eat. Now, eating disorders are very tricky and sneaky illnesses. They have an excellent ability to pick up on any doubt in their parents. So if one parent is doubting himself or herself, feeling, uh-oh, I think I'm giving my kid too much food, the eating disorder is going to pick up on that, and that's going to make it very difficult for the child to complete the meal. The second guideline I like to share with parents is the importance of planning and organization of meals and snacks. I can't overemphasize the importance of planning given the busyness of people's lives today. Probably one of the best ways to guarantee that a meal or snack is not going to go well is to be in a hurry and to scramble the last minute trying to decide, what am I going to feed my child for dinner? Because what this tends to do is increase the child's anxiety, leading to more debates and conflict. People with eating disorders really struggle with uncertainty, and they struggle with surprises. They like to know in advance what are they going to have to eat. This helps reduce their anxiety so that when they're at the meal, it makes it a lot easier for them to eat. The way we deal with this in the inpatient program is that we have a menu group once a week where the patients go over their menus and they see exactly what they're going to have for all of their meals and snacks for the entire week. So when it comes to mealtime, there's no debate, there's no discussion. The expectation is that you already know what you're going to eat. You've already had an opportunity to make a few limited choices, and then your job is simply to eat. This really helps reduce their anxiety, which makes it much easier for them to complete their meals. The third guideline I like to share with parents is the importance of consistent consequences when the child does not complete a meal or snack. If a child is not completing a meal, this means that they're not giving their body the fuel it needs. Fuel in must match fuel out. Just as if you're driving a car on empty, eventually the car is going to break down. It's the same thing with the human body. If a child is not completing a meal or snack, they must rest and not be engaged in physical activity that would go on to burn more calories. In our inpatient program, when somebody does not complete a meal, the consequence is that they need to go to their room and rest. Now, this isn't meant to be punishment, and it's not meant to be cruel or anything like that. They can still play games, watch a video, do something fun with a staff member or with their family. But the point is they've got to conserve their energy. If somebody is not completing their meals at home, it does not make sense to let them go for a walk the dog, or go to soccer practice. Instead, really what has to happen is that they need to stay home and they need to conserve their energy and rest until they are able to complete at the next meal or snack. The fourth guideline I like to share with parents is a simple one: persistence. The parents simply have to be more persistent than the eating disorder. They have to be so unrelenting in their efforts at every meal and snack, requiring their child to eat it, implementing the consistent consequences for non-completion after every meal and snack, that the child simply says to themselves, you know what, this isn't worth it. Food restriction, it's too much of a pain. It's easier just to eat the food because my parents aren't going to give up. Parents just need to be so relentless that what they're doing is creating a culture that it becomes impossible not to complete. In summary, I think that if parents are able to remember these 4 guidelines, that they can successfully create a culture at home where their child is required to complete 100% of all meals and snacks. The first guideline, again, is parents being 100% unified in their approach to refeeding. The second guideline is for parents to be organized and to plan all meals in advance. The third guideline is for parents to institute clear and consistent consequences of rest and no physical activity for non-completion of meals. And the fourth guideline is simply for parents to be more persistent and consistent than the eating disorder.